Welcome to Gravity, the podcast about pulling clients into your real estate business. If you're a real estate agent trying to grow your business, this is the podcast for you. So sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. Hey everybody, welcome to Gravity, the podcast on pulling clients into your real estate business through your marketing efforts. Today we're here with Stacy Sheely of eXp Realty, and I'm your faithful and loyal host, David Requa with House Kick. And we're excited to have Stacy here today. She's a real estate agent. She's been in the business for a couple of years, and I'm really dying to hear her thoughts on marketing and growing her business as she's sort of new and gotten her feet under her. So, Stacy, I guess my first question would be, what got you into real estate? Why make that leap into real estate services?
Well, I had taken the class in Indiana in 2008, but that was 2008, and then I wasn't going to start then.
2008 was a bad time to start a real estate business for everybody.
Time.
Yeah. Don't do it in the Great Recession.
Yeah. So a family friend of mine was a real estate agent, and she was very outgoing and really good at it and good at talking with people and stuff like that. So I was like, well, that sounds like a cool job. It's far less physical than my former job. So it's a little bit easier as you age. So it's a bit more gentle physically, but there's a lot of mental stuff to it.
So you must have been doing something that required some serious manpower or female power, before you got into real estate. So tell me a little bit about what you did preceding your real estate career.
So I owned a 20-stall boarding, showing, lesson stable with 20-acre hayfield. So I was farming hay and taking care of 20 to 25 horses at any given time.
Throwing bales of hay around will do a lot for your muscles.
Yes.
But probably I could see where getting into real estate might be a little less, exertion.
Right.
So you decided at some point, like, this other career is going to be a little difficult as my back starts giving out on me and my arms start giving out. So I should get into real estate. So was real estate your first choice? I mean, tell me a little bit about that process.
No, it was. So I have a lot of other experience. My dad was a builder when I was a kid. So I know how to build a house from breaking ground up to finish and paint choice even. So I know how to do all of that stuff, and I used to work with him.
Okay.
So it wasn't just like, my dad did a thing, and
right.
I know stuff.
Were you throwing bales of hay around in the houses, or swinging hammers and doing stuff? So
straw bales for the lawn. But yeah, no, demo days was my favorite.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
If you've never done demo day, give it a shot. You'll love it.
It's very good for anger management if you have those problems. So I did all of that stuff and learned all of that ever since I was little. And then I did title research for mineral oil gas companies in the Ohio Valley for a couple of years, and that was really kind of interesting. And
so you had some real estate background in a few different verticals, it sounds like, construction and building, and then title, which is on the legal side of real estate. So it was probably a smooth transition into the agency stuff, because it's weird. I obviously took the real estate class and got my license for real estate. And I had, at that time, 15 years of real estate legal experience. And so when all of these people in the class were struggling with, because that's mostly what they teach you in real estate school, is to cover the legalities of everything. It's that believe it or not, they don't actually teach you anything about what a house. In real estate school, nothing. It's all legal stuff.
There's two pages in the book.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that you have that background, because they're not actually teaching that as part of your curriculum or what you need to do to get your real estate license. You don't actually have to know what a joist is to get your real estate license. And I know this because when I got my license, I had no idea what a joist was until sometime afterwards. So you had that background. I'm sure that was helpful, or sure it is helpful as you're helping your clients try to find houses.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, and then my dad did a whole lot of restoration of historical homes.
Oh, cool.
So I know what I'm looking at when I go into a house, and I'm like, oh, well, that joist is probably screwed up in the basement down there. I bet it's right there. And then we go down the basement or crawl or whatever it might have, and it's like, oh, yeah, there it is. There's the repair there. Know how they did that. That one's kind of shady. So it's good to know that kind of stuff. I have that kind of background also, because you can protect your clients. because you know what you're looking for.
That's the name of the job, right? That's
Mhm.
what you're supposed to be doing. That's kind of one of the reasons why I harped on, like, it seems like maybe they would teach that in the class a little bit more. Note to the North Carolina Real Estate Commission, if you're watching, maybe a little something about houses would be cool. Just saying. So you decided to get into real estate,
Mhm.
and I'm sure the first thing you've learned in the first probably 3 months of getting into business was, okay, great, I've got my license. Now what? Where's all the clients? How do I find somebody to buy a house or sell a house?
A little bit.
A little bit of the trickiest part, and they don't teach you that in real estate school
No.
either. About a good solid 50% of the job is marketing and selling yourself in order to get clients. So when you got out of the jump, tell me a little bit about what you did on day one to sort of start building your business and getting a book of clients so you could actually make some money doing this.
Sure. So having had all the experience with horses, and I've been involved with horses since I was 12, and being a serial entrepreneur, there's a whole bunch of tricks and little things that I already knew how to do, and knew, like, I know how to talk to horse people. And I know what they need to hear, and I know what they need to have. And it's not just that I was in my one single barn and or I had a horse and I know all the horse things about barns and stuff. That's not a thing. You can have a horse and it doesn't mean that you're good at real estate for equine properties, for
Right.
business, or for somebody who plans to have several horses. You need to understand, like land parts and what happens in the GIS system and what is the zoning and all of those important things. And can you have a well? Is it a watershed and all that
Sure.
other stuff too?
So are you referring to if somebody wanted to buy a house and then add a horse farm to it, or are you
Yeah.
talking about what to look for in a horse farm? Because I know that there are properties that are already, set up for horses. So I guess tell me a little bit more detail about that. And then further, are you finding clients within the horse or equine community, and that's where you were digging, kind of working that as your network to pull clients in?
Both, all of it. So if you want to do builds, you need to know certain things about the zoning or what's going on with the natural surrounding areas and the government involving, all the eco stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And what needs to be done for water, plus land management things. But then if you've already got an established facility up, is this a functional facility or is this an outdated facility? And you can walk into a place and recognize if this building is going to work for what they want. There's also a difference between English riders and Western riders and what they
word.
need.
Really?
Plus,
in the
yes,
facilities?
absolutely. And
I did
then
not
you
know
break
that.
that down even further. So you have Western and English, and then there's different things that each of the Western English type riders have and that they do, and different arenas, different footing, and each different section needs a different footing, different arena size. What is going to work for a Western rider is probably not going to work for an English rider, depending on what the English rider does. So
Interesting.
it breaks it that you have to know the industry
That's awesome.
to help somebody in something that is that specialized.
That's great. So I think it's super interesting that you immediately gravitated towards what you knew and try to find clients in an area in which you had some expertise and were comfortable and connected in.
Right.
So that is, I saw you kind of made a face when I said when you first started, you kind of like made a face like, no, I already had this under control when I first started. So it looks like you had sort of this plan a little bit, at least. You may not know exactly how it was going to play out, but you had a plan of, hey, I'm going to try to focus on, a particular type of client in a field that you knew a lot about, that was going to be comfortable, natural for you. And I'm going to guess you really enjoyed it as well. So it was probably fun for you.
Yeah. So going through you getting a chance to go through all kinds of different barns that were on the market and going through the MLS and being like, oh, wow, that fencing. Or looking at other realtors who I was pretty sure were probably not knowing a whole lot about horses, try to market a horse property is just, it's frustrating for me and for my clients, because it's like, I need to know what that fence is made out of. Don't just say fence, or we go there and it's fence, but it's 200-year-old fence.
Right.
And it's barbed wire, and that's not going to work on a horse.
Right.
So knowing if you're listing something that's specialized, you have to know the ins and outs and not just be amateur, but you got to be pro level, understand a building. It's like if a residential real estate agent was just going to be like, oh yeah, you want a 70,000 square foot warehouse? Let's go.
Right.
Like, you don't know anything about like what can you have in that warehouse.
Yep.
It's not just a warehouse can have anything in it.
Perfect.
There's certain warehouses that you can only have certain things in, and you can't jump. And I hate that saying that stay in your lane. It's just rude. But there's no, like I would be totally willing to help somebody if they've got a client who's selling an equine property, especially if it's a commercial equine property.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you should list it. These are the things that are important to other horse people. This is what somebody coming to buy this special property, and there's not a whole lot of them out there. This is the kind of person that you're looking for. This is where you need to advertise. These are the words you need to say. There's a whole horse lingo.
So this is fantastic, and it's something in marketing that I think is often overlooked by not only the real estate community, but just businesses in general. And it's hard as a business. You want to be able to service everybody. You want to cast a wide net so that you can pull, fish back in there, and you can actually make some money and service the people that you're working with. One of the issues is that you can't be everything to everyone. Mm-hmm. And so I love the fact that you kind of dialed in on something that was comfortable for you, mm-hmm. and sort of made that your thing. I think that's something that would benefit a lot of real estate agents, again, especially around something that they enjoy. I think the natural tendency is for someone starting a business to look at where can I make the most money? And so they try to do something that isn't necessarily authentic to them as a person. As a result, they don't put as much energy into it because mm-hmm. it's not really who they are. They're just doing it for the money. And it's going to be foreign to them. Ultimately, they're not going to enjoy it as much. They won't put as much time into it. There's just a bit of a disconnect. So I think I would advocate for any real estate agent, try to find a topic. It could be anything. Fantasy football. You could have your man caves for the guys that are single guys that want a house. I mean, that would appeal to me, right? I'd play in 3 different fantasy football leagues. I'm not a complete dork, but I like fantasy football. Anyways, but that would be authentic to me. Now, you might never have played in a fantasy football league, and you might say, well, there's a big audience for fantasy football, so I'm going to try to talk about it, but you've never done it. It would be super awkward for you. Same as it would be awkward for me to go in there and try to tell people about equine properties because my sister liked horses when we grew up. I mean, just right. And it doesn't fit.
The thing with that, though, is it's so see-through for somebody. Like if I was going to look for a property and I wasn't a real estate agent, talking to a real estate agent who doesn't know something and plays it off like they do. Yeah. Oh, bad. Oh, that's bad. Right. That is an instant turn off to somebody who knows what they're talking about and knows what they're looking for.
So that's great. Like I said, finding that passion and something that you're interested in, super knowledgeable about is I would imagine that's working for you. However, mm-hmm. the downside is it is very specialized. Very. So finding those clients has got to be a little bit of a challenge. So tell me a little bit about what you've done aside from being in the community, or maybe that is what you've done, to find leads that are going to fit that strength or that vertical that you've sort of dialed in on is what your focus is going to be.
Okay, so I use Facebook pretty heavily, mm-hmm. and I have the biggest audience there with that over Instagram, and I'm still kind of fumbling with Instagram, trying to figure out some other stuff. Being in a barn most of my life is not really conducive to computers, so there's a lot I'm still working on figuring out. But Facebook is simple for me. It's easy. So I post lots of horse stuff. I post lots of look at this is a super kitchen, or find historical kitchens that I like a whole lot. Monet had a beautiful kitchen in France. So like when you find pictures like that mm-hmm. are of interest, and then you make it so that people are just ooh like. And I did actually a couple of videos on YouTube. I
actually did my research as well and took a look at a couple of these videos. My favorite one, by the way, is the one where you're fumbling through the beginning of it. You had like a little blooper reel.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of laughing my ass off when I saw that. I thought it was hilarious. Funny that you would, just put that up and say, oh, let's just do this. And
right.
Like, obviously you were comfortable, like giving the video a shot. So interesting that, you're doing that. And that's obviously your tactic is trying to get out there a little bit. Mm-hmm. How has it worked in terms of engagement, getting, is it attracting attention? Like, how was your strategy of that working so far?
So I've got kind of a fun strategy. If I do something, I've figured this out. If I do something silly for the YouTube stuff, mm-hmm. like I did Tomboy real estate agent tries to fix hair. So I did this video where I'm trying to make my hair look nice, and it was just like a train wreck because I don't know what I'm doing, because it's, you know, like that's what girly girls do, and I'm not. So I was doing it, and it was funny. And then I posted parts of it onto my regular Facebook page, but I also have 2 business pages and then a couple of groups. Actually, I have 5 business pages on Facebook, but 2 that I'm working with the most now. And I've kept my stable page going, and I'm just adding on different horse topics and bringing that up, and still working that page. So I'm getting some horse people over there, and then throwing, oh, look at this barn. I'll find a barn that's on the MLS and throw it up on the horse page.
Okay,
and then I'll
cool.
have the horse page post stuff to the real estate page.
So you're sort of like trying to commingle those.
Oh, yeah.
And cross channel. That's pretty smart. So are you getting good engagement? I mean, have you gotten any clients out of it? Let's ask that
absolutely.
question. That's a big one.
So if I post the silly, like I did my hair video onto my personal page, then I get like 1 million, not 1 million, but a ton of likes and stuff, and a lot of engagement on that. Awesome. And then right after I post that, I'll give it about an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and then I'll post some stuff for the business. And I have found that if you do something silly and then you post something serious, you get more engagement.
People take the serious ones more seriously after the silly one.
Yeah, well, because it's brought more attention to your page itself, and you've got the engagement, and then the engagement is still up after a couple hours. They're still making hits on you, whatever it is that you post.
Right.
So when you do that, it gives you do something silly, then you put the serious one up there, get a lot more attention on the serious one after you've done something silly. If you've made somebody laugh, that's the best way to make some money.
That's great. We do a little bit of that with our flooring company, our Charlie's Flooring. So we've got Charlie is our dog, and I don't know if you've seen our logo for Charlie, but he's a Dachshund, and he's got sunglasses on, and the in our logo, like we're on the back of our business card, it says our floors are for wieners. Be a wiener.
When animals,
so we're trying to have a good time with it. It is a little bit silly. I remember when I was putting the website together, my web guy was like, I sent him the About Us content, and the first line was Charlie's a wiener dog with a bowel movement issue. And he's like, "You're gonna write that on your website?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're trying to have fun." I take our business very seriously, but I'm also trying to have fun with it, and I'm not that serious that we can't have a good time while we're working. So it's sort of been like a slapstick kind of thing. We'll post pictures of Charlie rolling down the road in his sunglasses, and like you said, it's a silly one, and then it'll be followed up by a serious one, like a job that we did, and we get a ton of interaction. Our likes are increasing, and our fan page is gone up incredibly over the last couple of months.
Animals are great for that. Animals can bring a whole lot of attention. So I use the horses. I've got 4 horses. So I use them as regularly as I can, but they kind of need, baths. They roll around in dirt or something. And so it takes a little bit more effort.
You can't smell them on video.
I know, it's sad. It's sad though, because they smell good.
That's funny. All right, so you've got you got videos going. You're doing some posting. I did see some writing as well. Looks like you had started blogging and then maybe stopped.
Blogs don't seem to be kind of the thing anymore, but I'd rather focus on video.
That's true. I mean, I think generally it's it's what you're going to be comfortable with. If you're super uncomfortable on video, by the way, you probably wouldn't be here today. But if you're super uncomfortable on video, then making videos isn't going to work for you. No matter, back to the fish out of water conversation that we had earlier. If it's disingenuous or you're not enjoying it, it's going to come across on video, and that's not going to work for you. So, in that case, I would say if you're a good writer, then just write.
Sure.
And if you're good on video, then do video. If you can do both, great, do both. But don't try to do something that's uncomfortable just because the masses think you should do that. But clearly you seem comfortable enough on video that it's not really been an issue for you. So the blogging, you just kind of cut that out. You just weren't getting the response that you wanted to.
I'm getting more response from video.
It's working better.
Yeah, and I do happen to be a good writer. So I can kind of incorporate some of that. I saw
some of the writing. It was like I was like, all right, there's some skills here.
Yeah,
this is good. This is good writing.
Yep. So, I don't think, and it's like anybody else, if you might be in the mood to read, or you do want to watch a video, or maybe you're running low on Giga things for your phone internet, and
Giga
when
things.
you're not at home, and you want to read
Spoken
it
like a
instead
true
of
farm girl.
oh yeah,
Giga
yeah.
things.
Yeah, it's not conducive to computers, barn life. But yeah, having a mix of stuff is really, I think it's important, and it helps either way.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you have gotten some clients out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that. So how's that transition go? You're posting a silly video and then a serious video. Someone sees that post of the silly or the serious
Mm-hmm.
and says, "I want that person to be my real estate agent." Is that how it's
Kinda-
going? I mean, tell me a little
kind
bit
of.
about that.
Well, when I had my stable, I always had people when they would come in and check out our barn and see how we would do our business, and if they wanted to do business with us, I would always encourage people to interview.
Mhm.
Go out and talk to other stables, and then if you want to come back, that's great. And if you choose somebody else, that's great. I want you to be, with the person that's gonna work for you.
Mhm.
And it's really like that too with real estate. It's difficult to work with a client that you don't get along well with, and it's
Yeah.
difficult for a client to work with a real estate agent they don't get along well with. And you should find somebody who works well with you, whatever that may be. And there's always, and even if you're a real estate agent, there are always going to be clients that are just like you who are going to want to work with you. So if you're silly, or you've got tattoos, or lots of piercings, or
Mhm.
you're very, elegant, and you can do with the luxury homes, you're going to find the people who you want to work with, and that's the kind of, that's the client you want. That's the kind
Right.
of relationship that's going to bring you more relationships later on, and then you can build your sphere, even if it's small, because I haven't lived here for very long,
Mhm.
but you can build that rather quickly. And if you've got enough people who are coming onto your social medias, whatever format they are, you be silly, you find somebody who you can get along with, and then you get along with them, as it is a relationship, and it can last a long time, especially if it's a specialized property. Like
Mhm.
it could take a year and a half to find an equine property that's going to work right for a client who wants to do commercial equine stuff. And it's you'll find the people, and the people who want you are going to be attracted to you or drawn to
sure.
you, and you just go from there. But most of my best clients and have come from Facebook.
Really?
And if it wasn't Facebook, then it was the stable that I give riding lessons at too.
That's great.
So organic is
So it's working. Yeah.
yeah.
All organic.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
As
And
organic
again,
as social media can
and
be.
so do you, obviously you're out there as a real estate agent. So, and I'm sure you have friends that aren't as interested in horses as you are.
Sure.
So I'm assuming that you get some other opportunities outside of that, specialization that you've decided to focus on. How do you handle those type of clients? And are you encouraging, other business streams to come to you? Because obviously a girl needs to pay her bills.
Right. So I also having all the construction background. My best friend works for a pretty large company,
Mhm.
and she's telling all of her friends, because she knows that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to builds and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and new builds, and older houses that people like, historical houses. It's easy to find those people once you get word out. But the best word out is word of mouth.
Yep.
And somebody saying, I know this person knows her stuff or his stuff, and this is somebody you should talk to.
Yeah, that's great. I always say the funnel, because people talk about the importance of Google. Everyone wants to be number one on Google. Google's so important. I think Google's cool. It's great, but to me, Google's the last stop. If you think about the buying process, it starts with the first thing. All right, do I know somebody who can help me with a problem?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, do I know someone who knows someone who can help me with a problem? So for example, someone who needs a contractor, like flooring person, may call you because you know about
Mhm.
contracting and ask for a recommendation that you can then provide someone. So it's, do you know someone? Then do you know someone who knows someone? And then you'll look at advertising potentially. So I saw an ad for this, or I saw an ad for that. Or connecting with people on social media. Again, that's kind of in the do you know someone who knows someone sphere. The very last thing people do is, well, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone who knows anyone. I haven't been advertised to. You know what? I'll go to Google.
Yeah, that's
And
kinda
so
working that
people
way.
prioritize Google and Google AdWords and like, oh, this is the greatest thing. Google AdWords is expensive. And frankly, it is, to me, it's the very bottom of the funnel. It's the last thing someone does before they go out there and shop. So yeah, Google AdWords is great, and it's easy. It feels easy because you just write a check to Google and you get business. But my thought is, if you can get business higher up the chain, you never need Google AdWords or Google.
Right. And I've gone very cheap, frugal with all of my stuff. And I've got a group that's just really suddenly in the last 2 weeks really gained momentum, is moving to Raleigh area, Cary, and it's one of the groups on Facebook. We've got over 800 people, and 400 of them were in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Which is weird, but I'm not going to say no. So that's another way to, there's a lot of people that are wanting to move to the area, want to find information out. So if you start a group on Facebook.
I've heard groups are really good too. I have not
really
yet started a group, but I'm a member of a few groups, and they're growing. Like, I joined one, I want to say 2 months ago, and it was at like 39,000 people. And they're already at like 55,000 people in 2 months. I'm like, that guy is really
Facebook's
crushing
doing some
it.
of the groups too.
Yeah, Facebook's good for that.
But yeah, so there's a lot of people that are wanting to move from the north down here. They've already got jobs at some of the big tech areas around here, at some of the hospitals, and they want to look for new builds. Okay, great, because I know how, and I can help you. Yes.
Sure.
And then I've had a couple of people, I need horse property. I'm like, okay, cool. So I've got a lot from there with that group, a lot of interest, and then, you know, posting stuff about horses on just my regular page too has gotten me more clients than even my business page has.
Wow. So you would like
get
to
a
grow
stable.
But the real estate specifically, would you
and
like to have a team someday, or are you just kind of happy doing a few deals here and there?
I kind of like working by myself a little bit there. Yeah.
It's, you know, it can be nice to not, you know, have other people to manage and run around or be responsible for.
But I don't have to be, you know, I bring in $10 million a year. I don't have to be that person. I have already worked that hard in my life, and I like to work hard. I don't like to work that hard anymore.
Well, I mean, this isn't throwing bales of hay around now.
No, it's not. It's a different kind of hard.
Yeah,
so
different kind of hard. I know this because I'm working till midnight just about every night. So
right. I don't want to be, you know, like the top real estate agent in the United States. I'll put it that way.
Gotcha.
But I also don't want to be, I know I have to put in time, and I know I have to effort of all sorts to get to where I want to be. But business, you know, it takes 3 to 5 years to start pulling a profit. And most of my businesses, I was pretty good at pulling in a profit before 3 years. It's just, we'll see where it goes. I mean, if it ends up being, you know, somebody wants to be on a team, well, we'll build a team. That would be great.
Cool.
That would be cool.
I
don't
like
mind that.
So you're just kind of working hard, doing your thing, putting your time in, putting the energy in, and then whatever happens, you're prepared to
I'm willing
go with the flow.
To let the business tell me what it wants to be.
Interesting. So we've talked about a lot of organic marketing. Have you tried any paid marketing?
I have, and I have not had as much luck with the paid.
Oh, good. But this is fun for conversation. We're doing a podcast on marketing. So tell me a little bit about what you've done on the paid side of things, and then what's your experience with that? Obviously, it wasn't positive.
Okay, so I spent probably a couple $100 boosting posts, and it was like getting all kinds of attention and all kinds of outreach or in the insights on the Facebook stuff was like really great. And then there was no response to it, no human response to it. There was all the tracking information, and then Facebook, of course, well, you want to do it, boost it again? And like, no,
so what were you boosting?
Out of it.
Out of curiosity,
a listing that I had.
So you're boosting a property for sale.
Yes.
So you have to work under their special housing parameters. There's a setting on their ads. Like if you try to run an ad for a house without the special ad category being checked, they will flat out reject it and not boost the ad. So hopefully you were able to do that, and the ad actually ran. But yeah, that's a tricky one if you're looking for a direct response because you're marketing a property. I've actually done some of those ads. We actually do get some response, but we're running a lot of, you know, we're casting a wide net for that. So you did some boosting. I wonder, so you said it was a listing. Have you tried to boost any other kind of your posts? So
I have tried those, how much you spend on rent every month, and let's talk about what it could cost you if you own a home for that same amount of rent. I've tried doing that and boosting that too, and even a sponsored ad, and it was not getting the right people. And so when did you try this? Ooh, that was probably probably 6 months after I got my license, I did it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of moved away from the paid stuff after a while because it wasn't, I never got any money from it,
You weren't getting anything
from any
at
of the
all.
paid stuff. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's hard to keep spending money on that when you're getting nothing. I will say that I would recommend to continue trying. And I know people don't like to hear that because it is difficult when you're spending some money. The great thing about Facebook is that you can spend little baby amounts of money that's comfortable enough to sample and try things until you find something that's going to give you a response. So when I start running a campaign, I may start with $5 a day, $10 a day, small amounts. I may run the ad for 7 days. You don't get a ton of reach. It's small. We're testing. Run it, test it, see what kind of engagement you're getting, what kind of reactions you're getting. Try different things, try different call to actions, try to find an offer, something you can do. There's a million different variables that you can throw into the creative side of creating the ad. In your specific case, if you got actually into the ads in the ad manager, you can start pinpointing interest. So you could go back into Facebook and pinpoint people that are interested in horses and real estate and cross-reference those two and try sampling that at $5 a day, $10 a day. Spend, $35 a week, see what kind of response you're getting. And then if you start seeing something that's working, then you start putting more money into the thing that's working. So you're not alone, by the way. First off, Facebook is very difficult. So even the things that I'm talking about doing now have taken me 6 months to figure out how to do, technically how to do.
And they keep changing it up and
they
not
change
telling
it
you that
constantly,
they're changing it.
and they are not consistent.
Right.
It's all over the place. But it's powerful. It's very powerful.
Very.
So I'll give you an example with my flooring business right now. We started out boosting posts probably in May and April. And we were getting traction. We had a few that went well. We had a few that didn't go so well. Again, testing. And over the summertime, we started getting better at it, started increasing the budget. And we went from getting 2, 3, 4 leads a week to 2, 3, 4 leads a day to right now we're averaging over 20 leads a day from our advertising. Now my budget's now over $6,000 a month. But for the return on my investment, it's an unbelievable deal. So I will advocate, stick with it. Go back, try it again. It will be worth it if you just stick with it. Look at other ads, try to find things that may be working, try to get creative. You seem like a very creative person, so I don't think you'll have any trouble with that. And then test. Spend a little amounts of money, test it out, wait to see the reaction. And when you finally get that thing that works, you will find something that works. I promise you.
Okay.
I've got ads that are working like astronomically right now, and all the bad ones I've gotten rid of, and now I just keep fine tuning. And then I even test against the ones that are working. So I have one that's working right now where I have a price in it, and then I have another one that's the same exact ad with no price in it, and I'm comparing them against each other. Because you can drill down so deep in these ads, and then you can create interest and do all kinds of stuff. So I would recommend keeping at it. There's huge value in there. If you can unlock that and you find the right messaging, you can crush it.
So how long did it take you to figure it out? Did you get where you are now with that?
You learn really quick when you're spending money.
Yeah.
You do. You're paying attention. You're on it. You got to give it like 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
What a lot of people do is they put it out there one day and then like, oh, I didn't get any response. Like, let me change it. No, worst thing possible. Because Facebook wants to make you suffer for a little while before they give you the reward. And I'm joking when I say that, but it's an algorithm. Mm-hmm. And the algorithm is learning who your audience is going to be that's going to engage with that information. It's learning all the time and it's refining. You don't see it. You don't know it's happening. It's happening. You can feel it eventually. Because what happens now for me when I try to run a new campaign or I turn one off, I actually take a huge step back in all of my ads. Even though I left an ad that was working perfectly on, the fact that I turned one off and started a new one, it's now almost penalizing the other one because it's trying to figure out, all right, well, how much should I reallocate to this new ad? It's crazy. It's doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes that you just don't know about. And so you got to sort of make adjustments and let it sit for a little bit so you can see what the actual results are going to be based on the adjustments Facebook's made with your advertising. So it's very powerful. You have to have some patience with it. And I know it's difficult to be patient with it. And I'm sure, when you're doing your research, like you don't know if it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So you spend a couple $100, you're like, oh, this isn't working at all. Like delete, quit. And you're not alone. A lot of people do that. And I'm not entirely convinced Facebook doesn't want you to do that, because I think they made their platform so difficult so that you'll go hire an ad agency to do it for you.
That could be too.
They have a lot of agency driven tools. And I'm like, man, like you have to really be an expert to do this correctly. And I almost think they set up that way on purpose, because they're smart people at Facebook. Mm-hmm. If they wanted you to figure it out, they would have made it super intuitive. So I think that's one of the things that goes on there. But anyways, try it. Go back, sample. Don't spend a ton of money, a little bit of money you can afford to lose. It's not exactly Vegas. Eventually you'll hit the machine, but it's worth the investment.
So do you think it's learning it faster than it did when it first came out, Facebook, the algorithm parts?
I wish I could tell you that, because I have only been doing it for 6 to 12 months. Okay. So I'm not groundbreaking on this. I'm behind the curve. This has been out for 10 years. So there are people that are even better at it than I am. I know that I've spent a lot of time getting better at it, and I'm still trying to work on my skills. As a matter of fact, I myself, who am consulting for other people to do Facebook marketing, have hired my own consultant to help me learn and improve and get better. And this is someone who's been doing it for 10 years. So, I eat my own medicine when it comes to that. Like I'm literally spending a decent amount of money, like more than most people's marketing budgets, to make sure I get better at this, so that I continue to improve and give good advice to people that we're working with, and for my own businesses as well. So, yeah. I
think that's important as a writing instructor. We all writing instructors who are good still take lessons. So that's Perfect. A really important thing to have somebody who's willing to go back and keep learning from other people too.
Always fine tune your craft. You can always get better. Even as I've gotten older, I found that I'm getting better.
Yep, absolutely.
Unless it involves running faster, in which case I'm not getting better.
Well, joints and old and that's work.
Exactly. Oh. So you're kind of letting the business kind of go where it's going to go, which I think is great. And I guess, is there any more marketing related stuff that you've tried, paid?
Well, business cards. I think that sometimes works, but you have to have a unique. It's got to be unique, something that's going to stand out. If you can do something on the cards or any of the advertising that's going to be unique, like the dog, using the dogs, that's perfect. On my business card, there's a picture of me and my horse, and people, oh, the horse girl, you're the horse girl.
The horse girl. Like, hey, yeah. I'll take it. If you're spending money on a horse farm, I'll be the horse girl.
Yeah. Well, and just the other day.
So I meant I'll be the horse girl.
Oh, okay.
I mean, whatever it takes.
Right. Well, just the other day I was talking to somebody from the group that I started, and she was like, "Oh, my daughters saw your picture and they saw the horse, and they said we want her. She seems cool." And then I got not only a really hot lead, and I have two new writing clients who, when they move into town, are going to take lessons with us.
Awesome. So selling both businesses at once.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Well played.
Yeah, we got to do that. Otherwise, why do you do all the businesses the first time? They're not going to help each other out. That works too.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, finding something, you got to find something that makes it unique, or you unique, and then somebody's going to want you, no matter what your uniqueness might be. And if it's the horse thing, or if it's dogs or wiener dogs, they're so cute. So you got to use your friend. I've brought my goats in on some videos too, and the response with the animals is like, oh, that is so cute.
Great.
So yeah, find the unique thing and use it, and
I think that's the moral. I think that's the theme of the show, is it not? It's find something unique.
Yeah.
In marketing terms, we call that a unique selling proposition, a USP. I actually had it on my list of questions that I used in the last episode, and when I brought it up, we didn't get quite as deep in the conversation. So I'm glad that we really got to flush that out today. I love that you had a focus around your business. And anybody watching this, obviously, who is looking for a horse-related property, they're going to be calling you. So we're going to chop this up for you, like I said, and get you a copy of it. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it.